There are 7 different ways that humans say the same point. And so the idea is, I'm just going to spend about 3 minutes on this. This will be our last slide. How to change your own communication style. If you're finding that you're doing delivery of presentations and different reports, or even just in your business development and pitching, and it doesn't seem to be working, it doesn't seem to be getting through, this is a tool that can help. We are more likely to connect to others when we balance the way we deliver our message in a variety of what I call languages, but you could call it whatever you like, formats, structures, packages. And here are the 7. Numbers, logic, inspiration, stories, promises, humor, and empathy. How do these actually look? Let's say, for example, you're trying to convince a potential client about the value of Lean Six Sigma and continuous improvement. Numbers in the language will be to speak entirely in data. Logic may be to say, if you believe that the customer process is not delivering what the customer intends and that it is critical to your business, this is an area for focus for improvement. So again, not numerically driven, but just the kind of, if you believe this, then this is the conclusion, and help people to follow that logic. Inspiration includes things like, how can you talk about the grand end state that can get people excited? Imagine a future where this is true in your organization. Stories and examples, many of us were taught, oh, that's anecdotal, you can't use that. And it's true in making major decisions, in figuring out strategies. Don't use anecdotal stories, but to connect to a message, to connect, to make a sales pitch successful, to get buy-in from a larger group, stories and examples are very powerful. Many of the religious prophets and speakers throughout the world have always used examples to show a major point. Stories and examples are the first thing that human children pick up on. Oh, mommy, oh, daddy, read me a story. That's universal in every language, in every culture. There is something about the nature of the way the brain takes on information. Stories are extremely powerful. Promises is the logic, not for the whole organization, the whole company, the whole business unit, but for the individual. If you follow this path, here's the likely benefit to you. In many different advertising campaigns, we don't talk about the benefit to the overall company. We talk about, and for you as a worker, this is what it means. Not including that often can be the difference between being effectively influential and not. Humor, very cultural, very different across cultures, should be acknowledged as such. One thing that could be funny in Saudi may be considered inappropriate in Egypt. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that region of the world, but all of you probably can agree countries and cultures differ on what is appropriate. And one should approach it with caution. But I will tell you, many of you have been to TED Talks or listened to TED Talks. And what do many of the TED Talks begin with? A joke. And the last of these is empathy. Can you speak to the person and understand where they are coming from? I know this has been a hard time for all of you. That statement can immediately connect to much of your audience. Now, how should you use this framework? 2 ways. If you are delivering a town hall, a TED Talk, a sales pitch, try to include as many of the 7 as you can. In contrast, if you're speaking to one individual and trying to understand how to connect better to them, figure out where their brain goes. Not from just their title. Oh, well, he is the head of procurement. He's only going to be interested in numbers. Perhaps. But perhaps he is someone very driven by humor. We tend to know this just by even how people respond to the question of, how is your week going? Oh, how are you adapting to this? people will reveal their brain preference to you in how they respond. So again, numbers, logic, inspiration, stories, promises, humor, and empathy.